Hello everyone and welcome to another Third Age Reforged. And today for you I have a little mini video just to thank everybody. We had a couple of milestones that we reached lately. We got 3k members on our Discord server, 400,000 visits to our ModDB, and we're getting close to 100,000 downloads, so should be good news. Just to let everyone know, we do also now have a website as well where you can keep up to date with new bits of information, which should be in the description. And lastly, since you're all going to ask about it anyway, the patch is looking to come hopefully within the next week, maybe two. There's a couple last final bits we're just finishing off. So hopefully that we can continue to keep you entertained in the short term whilst we get this underway. So, now, this is for the thing. Welcome to Helms Deep. So you may have seen this before, and what you'll likely know is that a lot of people do this battle, but hopefully you're going to see a few things a little bit different, some new units. Here's a new unit model which you guys may enjoy right here. There you go, the Ballista of Isengard. This is a map made by Sin of the Dark Cloud, which is a custom scenario. We're doing this one as close as we can get to the movie, I suppose. This is not play for wins. This is going to be for your visual entertainment. So you can see here that I have my pikemen. I have a good number of them. To be honest, I'm not really going to go over the army compositions for Isengard. There's going to be a lot of heavy infantry and a lot of pikes. If I do see anything you guys might be interested in seeing, I will move in closer and view and pick those out. But we're just going to go across the lines a little bit here as we see my units waiting and forming up, and my generals, berserkers. Again, models haven't been massively changed for these guys, so don't worry if you can't see them. One unit which I think that you'll enjoy to see is going to be the explosive sort of berserkers here with the torch bearers there. Let's just say they're going to come into play. And we've got the standard ram at the back, so there's nothing too new there. I'm going to be joined today by Happy Meal. He hasn't been in the video for a while, so it's good to see him back. We have Celtic here, and I think we also have... do we have Sin? We do have Sin, but he's not with these main troop. We do have another Isengard player. I'm just seeing... There you go. Langho is how I'm going to pronounce them. On the sides of Rohan, then, you've got the horses. I'm going to keep them from being too revealed until later. That is mainly controlled by Sin of the Dark Cloud there for the reinforcements. On the Elves, holding sort of the main sort of area of Helm's Deep. I think this is the... I mean, that's the Hornburg, so... The outer rim. This is Sun has joined us again for this battle. He's going to take on the Elves, which seems quite fitting. And inside we have Creed, who many of you may have known. One thing I would say is that Sin accidentally maybe gave Creed a little bit too many sort of elite tier Rohan troops, considering that they're meant to be quite a lot of peasants here. But you can see there he is lining up on the walls. They've all got their torches. He's just kind of forming them up now and getting them into position to wait for the onslaught. So here's a few sort of axemen. Here's some Westmark spearmen. I will go back and look at the Elves because they're probably the most interesting to people. The Rohan Forces, again, not much change in the visuals. They have had a recent upgrade in terms of a lot of their units prior to the new patch, so we're not seeing anything particularly new. So you can see there the Hornburg sentries there, which you'd like to see with these large, almost dwarven-like Roman shields. And these are the bodyguard, which are getting left for the cinematics towards the end. So, yeah, there's the Hornburg. Down to the Elves, then. So we've got these guys all along here, just kind of forming up again, positioning themselves. We've got a lot of archers, but with Elves, they might as well be infantry as well. This is where Haldir, I think it's pronounced, will be. I mean, really, the bulk of Sun's entire army is archers. So, let's get everything started. And we're going to go from the old the old codgers up on the walls and the small young boys who are seeing the vast forces of Isengard preparing. We start sort of drumming and smashing our spears into the ground, taunting the race of men. For there will be no dawn. Quick, just moving a couple of units around a bit. One thing we did find is that as we tried to set this up, they didn't all necessarily want to go on the walls in the way we wanted to. I think probably just because we had just far too many units on the battlefield. As you can see, with the Isengard forces sort of really spread out there in the thousands towards the back. I do think they're meant to be firing relatively soon. I think maybe Creed is overly concerned about how quickly we can get up to fight his spearmen. Yes, so for those waiting for the new patch, we should be coming soon. Although we have said that for a while, so we do as a team apologise. And here comes the first shots, and suddenly the battle for Helm's Deep begins. By the way, if I do that for more than 30 seconds, I'm so good at doing the tune that the video will be demonetized and brought down. But you can see here, me living up to my name. I'm charging forward now. As I think it's the one-eyed guys telling them all to loose. And you can see I'm already starting to drop. Although I'm relatively impressed about how well my pikemen hold up to the onslaught. But this is before the elves truly get involved. As I move up my ladders, coming up quite quickly. So you can see that actually the spears didn't do as badly considering the amount of punishment they're gaining. But they're starting to feel the burn as we'll spin round slightly so you can see the ladders move up as the troops begin their assault. I love the way that my Isengard advisor is stating me quite the obvious here. And my ladders start now getting onto the walls. I think I've got another one more set here. And there we go. If only I could have the sort of the berserkers attached to the top of it. So you can see here as well we have the Isengard specialised ladders here with the sort of horned top to them. As my berserkers now take the lead, moving their way, looking to take on the elves to remove their, I guess, their head from their shoulders and giving them the gift of the afterlife. I mean, that's truly the greatest gift of all, being able to die. If the humans were told anything, I think I'd go for immortality myself. So we start making our way up the wall. As the first assault begins, we all start dropping on. Berserkers are fantastic. Definitely one that you want to take out from range, because if you can get them into melee, they can really start doing some work. And you can see that they are starting to make a good show for themselves across the line here. Bring themselves in and giving me some reprieve. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not taking a lot of shots, but thankfully the main assault on the gate has also begun now to take some of Creed's ammunition away from hitting my forces. This is the part where you need a side gate for Gimli and Aragorn to pile into. But in the meantime, we haven't been able to do that just yet. Although, sneak peek, we may be able to look into making some sort of hero unit. But that's very much TBC. No idea why they fell off, by the way. When we played this, we were quite shocked ourselves. We decided just to continue regardless. But we did find it quite funny, a number of them leaping to their death. Obviously a suicidal moment for fear of the Isengard forces. as I continue to basically try and swarm my way up the ladder. I did have a little trouble with these guys here. I'm not quite sure what it is. I think it's just there was too many people on the wall for them to start getting into. Pikes aren't the greatest at clearing off walls, as you can see, but they are in the front line, and I thought, you know what? They've had their moment. Now, we do make a good push here. As the gate falls at the front. Yeah, you see, look, all the little bit dead. No idea what happened there. We were a little unsure. Sin was going to go and have a look at that again. But you can see Creed doing a classic V formation. I mean, this will hold for years. So we'll go back to the main action because that choke point isn't going to change anytime soon. Which is fair because that was, again, slightly cinematic. You can see the pikes starting to come over the walls. I am losing a lot of troops fighting these archers. So if we just see if we can get some nice close-ups here. I have turned up the brightness slightly to try and support some of the view. This is a very dark map, as you might imagine, being in the middle of the night. So hopefully you guys can see okay. But I am making some good ground here where I've had the double ladder. The single ladder, less so. I mean, I've got a lot of troops up there, but without being able to get around them to flank the Elven forces, it's not going anywhere. Right, moment of truth. So you can see here that I lined up my troops on either side to do the cheering sort of members of the Orcs. I think I even have my general's unit possibly cheering the song of their people. There we go. This is the Legolas take him down moment as we start positioning the powder cart. So they're all here sort of cheering away with a big long sort of, I always think of it, the chariots of fire moment as he runs with the burning torch. We just did a quick little repositioning. It worked fine in the original test, but having a little trouble setting it up. The river is standable. You can stand in it, but it was just playing a little bit finicky. So he should be firing any second. You can see how that goes. Meanwhile, I continue to swarm my troops up onto the walls because I mean, ultimately, this is going to be about a sort of attrition. But you can see the Isengard forces really making a go of it. We do have a few crossbow units. So you can see that we have the classic Isengard crossbows. We don't have very many, and they're kind of doing a bit of a point blank. And here it goes. There's the explosion. Down the walls come with Isengard. Sorry, to allow Isengard into Helms Deep. As it kind of sounded in the film, I always thought. Had to wait a small moment for the animation to continue. As we see from the perspective now of the defenders. It's a beautiful sight as you're an orc, being able to charge into the city without having to go for the ladders. But the elves are waiting. Here they are with their large sort of two-handed glaive-like swords. And the counter-charge begins. And Isengard are now truly within the walls of the city. But the elves are not without a lot of ammunition still. On the walls, I'm still trying to muscle my way through, but the elves are just too many, and he even has some spare on the side still firing away because I just can't get to them. So I'm making some good progress here, but a little bit bulky. I did lose a lot of units to the explosion, but in the same sense so did Sun. And we'll go and have a quick look. You can see the Creed has set up another V choke point here. I'm not quite sure I remember seeing the V choke points in the movie itself, but you can see he did flatten himself here as Happy Meal just tries to push his forces in against those spears. He's having a little bit of trouble. Like I said, those spears will hold for days. Now, obviously, if you're doing this in a real battle, what you would do is you would bring a catapult up or some javelins, or well, I'm trying to get the angle so you can see inside, but it's not really working for me. A catapult or some javelins to just try and force them away. But you can see he's trying to muscle, but he is being pushed back. He's just not having that luck. It's just a bit of a mosh pit cluster here. He's trying to break up the formation, basically. So they're all in shield wall formation here. And he's just struggling to push his way through. But you can see plenty of reserves from Creed. As I said before, Sid ever so slightly overdid sort of rather elite Rohan Forces, considering the peasantry that were pretty much being involved there. The battle for wall continues. The Elves not yet giving up as we go up to some of the loincloths of the Orcs, which was certainly not intentional. You can see Haldir here in the front lines. He's fighting away. Aragorn saying to pull back, get back to the keep, pull his men back. And Haldir just nods, getting ready to return to the safety. But will he make it, ladies and gentlemen? Well, he seems to be having a little bit of trouble. He's pushing even further into the Orcs. He's got a bit of bloodlust as I continue to send more troops up my ladders. I want to get a good angle on him. I will try to, just see if we can see his stand. Here we go. There he is. That's as good as you're going to get, I think. He seems to be having a little bit of problem being stun locked right now, which is certainly not something that I'm going to be complaining about, as he suddenly... Oh, he had to go behind the Orcs. There he is. You can see him there in the red cloak. Oh, and down! Down he goes, is he? Is he gone? No, no, he's back up! He's back up, ladies and gentlemen! The blow to the skull was not enough. He will fight to the end. While my Orcs continue to fall like a hot knife through butter. But again, this is because of things like chevrons. It's due to things like their armor and their weapon upgrades, and the tierage of the units that we're facing here of the Elves. As he gets another kill, he's doing well. He's obviously got past... Trying to get it for you. There you go. He's obviously got past the point where he was being stun locked, and he's still trying to make his last stand. I had thought that he would die a lot quicker than this. As you can see, he is holding out. But my pike's now a little bit of pokey. Trying to force him out. Is he finally going to die? He's on the floor. I think that's him dead. Yeah, there he goes. As we charge through triumphantly. And that, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that was my general dying. So, congratulations to Sun for killing my general as I killed his. As you can see now that the swarm is truly starting to flow like a river through the hole. The Elves just unable to keep up with the swarm pushing here. Just too much of a bulk. The mass just too big. But they are still actually holding a lot of their line. That's the crazy thing about it. So even over here as well, where they're making a stand, I'm actually trying to push through these forces with the units I have. Now, admittedly, a lot of them are pikes, and therefore they're not going to really be able to push through the Elves. But I want to get these guys off the walls. I've got loads of them. And I really just wanted to sweep these guys away or break them, but it just wasn't going to happen. Sun starts trying to fall back some of his troops. He's moving them off the wall now. And he's going to come up against what remains of some of Lang Ho's infantry, which force their way through the side here. If you just zoom in, you can see them all here. Mate's back on their menu, boys! Which is good, because unfortunately he only feeds them a maggoty bread. Which is not the greatest. I mean, as perks of go, I mean, you'd hope they're paying him, that they're getting paid well. Okay, so the exodus of the Elves, they start falling back now. Hunted down by Lang Ho, just trying to clear out the last of the fleeing force that's making their way back to the safety of Helm's Deep itself. Sun 6 Elves here, again, holding the line. I couldn't believe this. I wanted... So, for those who don't know, although probably most of you do now, this door here is actually accessible. You can go up through it. And I really wanted to push my way through. But these 6 guys, They are holding on. And I could not believe it. Again, I know I've got some pikes here, but it's not just pikes. I've got some heavy infantry here pushing forward, just trying to get through, but they just won't do it. So, yeah, real trouble. Really trying to force these guys down. Not going the way I wanted to. So, Happy Meal here. He's really just kind of using every sort of trick of the trade he can. So he's been able to get some of his units up onto the walls to take on sort of the spearmen and the archers up here. The way he's done that is he's pushed enough just to be able to reach these little side doors and just slip them through. You can see there's two guys just kind of keeping that door open for him. Slip a couple units in there as he tries to sort of force his way in, but you can see like he's having to devote his entire force here, which is fine because it's not like he's being assaulted anywhere else, but he really struggled. And actually what we did was we had Creed pull back some of his units just to give Happy a chance, just to try and make it through the doorway, because it was an absolute just horror. And it wasn't like Creed was struggling. He still has units everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Ignore the balance of power, really, I think, for this purpose. So you can see now that we are starting to make our way to the top of the hill. And what faces us is more Rohan. More Rohan spears, in fact, which are more than happy to hold. We did have a little bit of trouble getting over the hill. Again, one thing we're checking out on. But ultimately, the main fight now is happening here as Happy Meal continues to try and force his way through. He's got the bloodlust now. He's trying to make his way to the king, and it's really now just a bit of a brawl. There is no battle lines. There is no shield formations. There is orcs, and there is men, and there is blood, and there is death. And you can see that it is just a rampage of individual fights. The axeman there coming in, taking out the guy in the back. Oh, he's still standing. Yep. Oh, one more hit probably would have taken him, but nope, he's changed target. He's just going to swing it like no tomorrow. He's got to be careful about hitting his own units there, I think. On the walls, I think Happy Meal's having a little bit more luck, but again, he's having the same problem I did, which he's getting a little bit sort of bogged down, even by these Helmingers. We actually start sending up some more units to try and push through the main gate. But Happy Meal does start making Creed sort of re-evaluate his position and start falling back to rally to his king and reposition himself. Partly for the fact that we're still struggling to get through him, and partly because it makes sense once we've broken through the lines. He's now committing those reserves that he had to the side. As the forces of Isengard continue but how long can they hold for before Gandalf arrives? Well, a while. A while. They're not struggling. Look at them. Look at them. This is sin for you. Normally he gets it right, but today he did not. But this is another reason why we do a lot of testing for these things. Although, admittedly, this was not a scenario for anything more than cinematics. You know, we didn't have a lot of things that you would want to balance out an attacking force on a siege like this. This is purely just to show you how it looks. As Creed now rides out to them. He rides out. There he goes. But what could he do against such reckless hate? The favourite quote from another YouTuber friend of ours, along with Defenders Never Win. But will they win today? Put your comments below, timestamp it, let me know what you think. He does get bogged down a little bit, you can see. Unlike the movie where he was just able to be like a battering ram and seemingly pile through hundreds of troops without even, I suppose, catching his breath. He's having a little trouble forcing his way down here, but he is making it there. You can see him there. We're just trying to follow him here. Gimli's blowing the horn now. As he desperately tries to ride out against his foes. Can't remember with the gambling and whoever it was if they came out with him. Gambling was the banner bearer. Maybe he didn't. But yeah, you can see there's too many orcs now, and actually he's having a little trouble getting past his own units. So he's still trying to ride out. He's doing the best he can. Oh, he's starting to lose some of his bodyguard. I believe that the First Marshal's bodyguard are classed as Knight Cavalry. For those who are unaware, Knight Cavalry are good in prolonged melee and the charge. There are a couple of variants within units now, including cavalry, that makes them ever so slightly different in the way that they play and their style, in terms of whether they're more like a shock cavalry, a melee cavalry, or a bit of an all-rounder like the Knights, so they can do a bit of both. But he is slowly making it. He can see the gates of Helms Deep. There's a couple of leftover orcs just holding him back. He's fighting. He's fighting to get out. Can he do it? Here he goes. He's free. He's free. He's through the gates. Oh no! There's a routing orc in the way. What will he do? No. He's just gonna wait. He's polite. He's like, well, you know, he's routing one soldier to another. Oh, he's gonna have a chit chat with his buddy here, and he's away. He's away. Oh, the battering ram unfortunately went down the side of the ramp. There he goes. Working his way down. He's got 14. Has he really got 14 left? I don't know where they all are. They must get stuck. Oh no, is this the end of the King Theoden? No Witch King battle for him. But what's this? The Orcs! They're reforming! What is it that they have seen with the coming of dawn? Well, we'll see once we see if the general can make it any further to come and greet the possible rumours. No. There he goes. We'll say that that wasn't him. We'll say that he had someone dressed like him to confuse the orcs. But does he stand alone? Not alone, he says. Let's do this then. We have Gandalf. But has he arrived too late to turn the battle? As Sin, with his First Marshal's bodyguard, makes his way towards the Orc lines. Celtic there, or Celtic, depends how you want to pronounce it. Setting up his forces. For the last moment, the sunrise will blind them. Wish you could hear the horn, like. Okay, and here we go. As he piles into the lines of orcs. Look at them. Some of them haven't even made it down the hill. Just so many. The pikes are trying their best, however, they are starting to have a little bit of trouble here just from the sheer weight of numbers. As we see more and more cavalry hammer home into the lines. You can see some amid defeat starting to come in as they suddenly realise that they cannot win this battle. And even the mighty Uruk-hai, their morale wavers Their loyalty to Saruman put to the test. They've given it their all, but they just weren't enough. However, pikes pretty good against cavalry, just just so you know, even against the sheer number that we have here. You can see that there's still a large number of orcs remaining, but if any of you have been paying attention to the balance of power, you can see that it continues to slip away from Isengard. There just isn't enough troops to be able to win. And actually the percentage killed, not too dissimilar really. Actually, about half of the Isengard forces, 40% of the defenders. Look at all this cav. Sin loves his cav, that is for sure. But go pikes! They can have themselves some lovely horse meat. But there's just too many, and the pikes start to rout and flee the battlefield. Again, before people start commenting about how the morale system is broken and isn't working, this is a cinematic routing. They feel that this is just too much for them. They just cannot carry on. As the forces of Rohan get themselves a second wind. Some of the units so scared, they just won't even move. As the exodus... We go to full speed now. The exodus of the orcs. You can see actually they run quite quickly when they're at full speed. They are not slow dwarves, that's for sure. But what's this? What's this on the horizon? Trees? Where did they all come from? Well, for these orcs, I don't think they particularly care. They've seen so much horror in the world that actually the idea of some trees is the least of their concerns. Just gonna have a final look here so you can see the Isengard ballista. There you go. Pretty cool. And yeah, I mean it's a route here. The horses unrelenting in their continued hunt to destroy the orcs. And that is that. The orcs of Isengard make their way to the trees which eat them up. Yum, 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 yum. I'd like to thank everyone that helped support making this video. Again, this is more of a stopgap filler in the hopes that we can thank everyone for the support that they have provided. And some of the big sort of, I guess, target goals that we've had. We do know that the patch has taken some time to come out. We do know that you've been waiting patiently. I do know that we originally said Christmas. It's now some time after that. But I promise you, it is imminent. Absolutely. And I wouldn't be saying that if I didn't believe that to be the case. You can't see the unit names for who was who. But Theoden was Creed. Yoma was Sin. Haldir was Sun. And, I mean, they're orcs. I mean, it doesn't really matter who was who. This is from the perspective of Creed, rather than myself, just so you can see sort of the kind of casualties inflicted. Again, most of these kills were kind of in the pushing phases. And actually, he didn't kill huge numbers, but obviously he broke a lot, and we weren't killing much of him. And we didn't want to keep this going for too long. Right, that is everything from me. Please like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you're most excited about with the new patch. Yeah, thank you everybody. My name has been Cannon Fodder, and this has been Third Age Reforged.